Okay, so here we are. We have the arrow keys that are all working very nicely. And we have some elements, some pictures on the board representing our food and our bunny, but the bunny is not following the location. So one common way to deal with this problem is that after there's a change based on a move, you redraw the whole entire board. You redraw everything. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a new function called draw board elements. Okay, so let's go to our program or our code here, and let's go to where we add the class for the pictures, right? So we're going to replace this, but actually that's for the location. Yes, we're going to replace this. And we're going to, but first we'll have to build the code first. So we're going to say just draw board elements. Okay, and we won't pass any arguments. Also, we're going to return a boolean. So if there is a problem, we can exit. So let's establish for document ready. Let's establish another variable, kind of a global variable. Let is error equal false. So if is error is true, then exit the program. There was a problem. Okay, so here, if it is an error, error is true, then exit the problem. We'll just add, we'll save this. Alert. Do I need to alert? Oh, we could. Okay, check console. There was an error with draw board elements. Okay, and then we'll return and exit and stop reading the code. Return. Okay, so we haven't defined this yet. Let's go down to the bottom here, and let's go after the last function we made. Let's write what this is in capital letters so it's easy to see. Let's zoom in here now. Okay, so okay, let's say function draw board elements. Okay, function draw board elements, and we'll start by returning the boolean is error. So we'll say that let is error. Usually you'll say let the error equal false, but let's say we want to do our test-driven development and start with a mistake, and then I'll write a message here. Okay, there was an error with draw board elements. Okay, exit. Okay, so let's run the code, and we should immediately get an alert. Check console, there was an error with draw board elements. Let's click OK. And if I go to the console, you see there was an error. It says the same thing. Perfect, we got it. So now, what do we want to do in this function? What we want to do is we want to get the bunny location. We want to get all of the locations of the carrots, and we want to make sure that the bunny is not sitting in the same location as the carrot. If they're not, then we put the bunny image and the food image. If they are, we put the combined food and bunny image. So if we look at our desktop, we look at bunny and food, if we look at this image, that's the image you want when the bunny and the food locations are the same. Otherwise, you just get the bunny itself or just the food. Okay. So, okay. So heading back to the code. So now let me write down this list of steps. So we will remove all bunny and food images from the board. We'll get the bunny coordinates. Then we'll get the coordinates of all of the food. We'll loop through the array and see if the coordinates are matching. If they don't, we'll add the image to the food. We'll also trigger a Boolean, true or false, if at one point the bunny is on the same location as a food, and we'll capture that. And then based on that, later on, we'll add just the bunny or the bunny and the food to the bunny location. So first, let's work with the removing the image classes. So remove class. Okay, for all of the board. So I believe it's called bunny1. So access all areas where there's bunny1 and remove bunny1. Okay, we'll do the same thing for food. And so that's food1. Okay. Okay, remove food1. And we'll also get bunny and food. Let's see what that one was called. I'm not sure. Maybe I did not name it. Let's go to the folder. Okay, so it's bunny1, food1. That's what it is. Okay, so remove bunny1 dash food dash 1. Remove that. Okay, I'll just call this function. I'll just call it and see what happens. So reload. Okay, check console. There was an error with draw board. Okay, well, look at that. The images were removed. So that looks successful. So maybe when I come back here, it's returning an error. Maybe we want to, okay, haven't decided what will trigger the error. So maybe let's just say there is no error. And then at one point we'll trigger the error. Okay, so so now that is working fine. Now let's get our bunny coordinates. So so if we go, actually we could take some of the code from this function here, right? So we could say this is bunny ID. Okay. Or we could just call it and say, give me bunny row, and so let's call it as normal. Okay. All right. So here is the function call way up here. Wow, very long. Okay. So okay, we'll call something like that. Okay, so over here, so we'll say let bunny column equal that, and let bunny row equal the result of that. Okay, and if either of those are -1, then let's just exit. If so if bunny column equals -1, there was a big problem. So we'll just say return and maybe add a console log. Okay, so right there was an error with getting bunny call in draw board. Exit. Okay, perfect. And we can do the same thing for the row. Okay, so if bunny row. Okay, perfect. So maybe right now we should do an alert to make sure we're getting all of the information we need. So let's say, okay, let's say, okay, we'll just say bunny row equals bunny row, and bunny column is this one here. Okay, that's going to be an alert, so we'll be able to see it right away. So perfect, it looks fine to me, and there was no error. Okay, so to finally get the bunny coordinates, we can copy this code and put it just below that. So right here, we could say that we won't put new coordinates. We'll say bunny coordinates are equal to this. And if we wanted, we could also move that below and add one more variable and say bunny coordinates are. And then we could copy that and put that in there. Okay, so that looks fine. Let's test it, refresh. Okay, in this case, I think we had an error because nothing appeared. So it said uncaught reference column is not defined, and that's in HTML 298. That's probably right at the bottom there. So here we're at 298. So the problem is we're talking about column, but not a bunny column. So that's what's going on. Okay, so bunny column, and then bunny row. Okay, so now let's try that. Refresh, and now we get square underscore 0-0. So it's looking very good right now. So I caught a little mistake. I want to say here that there is an error. Is error equals true. And then here we want to return the error. And you can do the exact same thing here. Why not just copy that? It's identical. Okay, paste that. And if we want, we can add a console message and say that the we were not able to get. Okay, so we're almost ready to loop through our array. Okay, so here we're going to establish our boolean is same coordinates equals false, and if it is, we'll trigger it and change it to true. Okay, and let's say let same row equal -1. If it is the same row or same column, then we'll change it to that actual number. But we're putting in an invalid number so that it has to work properly in order for it to work. Okay, so we have those variables. I think now we just need to get the array using jQuery, accessing the class of all food elements. So we could say, so get us all food location. Okay, and then I think get all food locations, and we need to say that we have an array. So let food location array equal this. Now, if we do a console log of this array, it should display 2 food items. Right now there are only 2 food items. So if I refresh, click OK, we have right here an array. We have square 2-2 and square 1-3, and you see it highlighting over here. So it's working great. I'm going to loop through those 2 elements. So let's write our loop. Let's add a line break there for spacing and to make it a bit more readable with some white space. Okay, so for, okay, let's loop let I equals 0, that's our index, while our food location, while I is less than our food location array's length, then add 1 to I. Okay, so now once we're inside of the loop, okay, let's zoom in. So, okay, here we go. Here's the plan. So we get the food location ID, get the food ID, okay? Then we're going to get the food coordinates. Then we'll get the food column and the food row. We'll get all of that. Then we're going to check, I'm going to say is the food column and food row are they the same as the bunny column and row? If so, then you need to do one thing. If not, you do another thing. Okay, so let's get that information. So so let food ID equal to food location array first element ID. Okay, perfect. Let the food coordinates equal to food ID, and we're going to split it by that underscore, okay, and we'll get the second element in that the resulting array. Great. Then let food column, which is the first one, would be food coordinates, but remember it's a number. Convert it, force it into the number type. Okay, so food coordinates split by the dash, and we're going to get the left element, the first one. Okay, and then let's copy that because food row is almost identical, except we're getting the second element. So that's food row. Okay, great. We have all of the variables we need. Now we need an if clause. We need to establish whether it's the same or not. So, okay, so if food column equals bunny column, and if food row equals bunny row, then in that case the food and the bunny are on the same square. Okay, so in that case they're on the same square, else they are not. Okay, so did I establish a Boolean? Yes, I said is same coordinates. So if they're on, then say is same coordinates equals true, else it equals false. Okay, so else it is false. Okay, so if it's true, then what do we do? Okay, so this is what we do. Well, we actually don't do that because maybe you go through the entire board and they aren't on the same spot. So it is true. We say the same row equals food row, and same column equals food column. Okay, perfect. Otherwise, so that means they're on the same. We'll draw it at the end. Otherwise, we can draw just the food element. So maybe we need to get the food coordinate ID. We can form that using this string. So square plus food call plus a dash plus the food row. Okay, and then we can add to the board, or add to these coordinates, add the class for the food 1. Okay, food 1. All right, and here this is an ID, so we use the hashtag. We add the food coordinate ID. Okay, so if I refresh, if I run the code, I should get the 2 food elements, but not the bunny yet. Refresh, click OK. Haha, it looks like it's working. We can always check the console. Okay, no problems right now. So far, so good. Okay, so now after we've gone through the entire loop, we can now add the so it's same, not so here we've now reached the end, and say now we could say if is same coordinates, then add the combined image, otherwise just add that bunny image. Okay, so here we could say just the bunny please. Okay, so let's do that. Let's say, so then we'd say add class to those coordinates, just the bunny 1. And maybe up here I can get I can form the coordinate string here, right? In the same way. So let bunny coordinate ID equal square underscore plus bunny row, no, bunny column plus a dash plus bunny row. Great. So we have the bunny coordinates, and then we could say at bunny coordinates, bunny coordinate ID, add this class. Okay, otherwise we will add the image that has both the bunny and the so okay, in this case, maybe we should write it this way. Let's write it this way. I'm going to cut that, and I'll put that over here because we're writing it. Okay, and now we're going to write it differently over here. So if it's the same, then we want to use these same row and same column, row and column. So here, let's replace bunny with same column and bunny with same row. Okay, it's worth a shot. Let's refresh. Okay, click OK. The bunny's there. Right click. Okay, so far so good. Right now, the draw elements is working. The next step is to call the code so that it works. It refreshes the screen each time we press an arrow key, and that event occurs. So let's so now we know that at least initially the draw board is working. Let's zoom out so we can see all of the code, and let's decide where we need to call this draw board. And so actually I can remove that. Okay, and I can save it, and it's going to do the same thing. Okay, great. So now let's call this after each one. So after key press right key. So here, then draw the board. Okay, and if it's an error, just say there was an error. Okay, if is error, exit and say there was an error drawing the board. Okay, alert or console. Console log sometimes is less annoying. So, okay, there was an error drawing the board. Okay, let's make that a console log. And let's repeat that elsewhere. So for left key press, save it. For up key press, paste and save. And for down key press. And in fact, we should actually run it as well for eat. So if an item was eaten, you'll want to redraw the board with that item missing. Okay, let's refresh. Click OK. Press right arrow. And let's remove those alerts. Some of those alerts are kind of annoying. So let's make that one a console log. Let's just replace all alerts with a console log. Let's find the next alert here. Okay, any alert that was not is not for an error, we should remove those. So this one, let's change that to a console log. Just slowing down our coding speed here. Okay, so let's save that and see if I improved everything. Okay, right click. Fantastic, look at that. Now, so here everything is fine except for this. For some reason, it's not giving me the combined image. So maybe, let's see, did I call that, or do I even have that class defined? So let's go up to my classes, and at the moment I only have bunny1 and food1. So what I should also add is our bunny1, our combined one. So this is, let's see what we called it. We called it, oh, we didn't even call it. Let's call it bunny1, food1, if it's the same. Okay, and let's define that over here. Okay, so that will be bunny1, food1. And okay, so let's save that and see what happens. Right, down, down, down. Fantastic, look at that. It's now the bunny is alone. The bunny is sharing the spot with the carrot, and now the carrot is alone again. So that is working great. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to develop the eat key press, the letter E key press.